What is the value of a trail? What's it worth to the bicyclist who wants to stay off the road and ride more safely and enjoy the singing birds, shade trees, and maybe even a stretch of meandering water? What is the value of a trail in connecting people as they encounter each other on the trail and go between cities and towns that are linked by a path? Elkhart County in northern Indiana has a growing number of trails that are linking people and places. The county's most prominent and most used trail is the Pumpkinvine Nature Trail, which follows the path of the old Pumpkinvine Railroad, which last ran in 1980. The trail came to life through a public-private effort and decades of determination, navigating legal disputes, pushback from landowners worried about things like noise or liability, and even attempts to pass anti-trail legislation. The Pumpkinvine connects with others like the Maple City Greenway and the Maple Heart Trail, tying together Elkhart, Goshen, Middlebury, and Shipshewana. Today, the Pumpkinvine Trails Coalition, which evolved out of other groups of volunteers and trail advocates, is part of the community foundation of Elkhart County, and leading the effort to go from 72 miles of trails in Elkhart County to 130, all linked for users to use for transportation and recreation. Let's look at the sustainability of the coalition through three lenses: ecological, economic, and social. These were identified as markers by Peter Nemitz, Professor Emeritus at the University of British Columbia, who specializes in environmental economics and sustainable development. On an ecological or environmental front, clearly walking or riding a bike is better for the environment than driving a car. Just over half of all car trips in this country are less than 3 miles. 28% are 1 mile or less, and another 24% are 1 to 3 miles. Brittany Short, Pumpkinvine Trails Coalition Director, doesn't know exactly how many of the trips on an Elkhart County trails are for transportation instead of recreation, but she knows trails are important to Amish and others for that.
So we don't have exact numbers on the number of individuals who are using it for transportation, but what we do know is that it is an important piece of infrastructure for our Amish neighbors. We know that folks are going back and forth between communities to go to work, to go to school, to visit their breweries. So we just know that our trails are important for people who use them for transportation.
The Pumpkinvine Trails Coalition builds trails that reduce congestion and carbon emissions in Elkhart County. Studies in 2013 and 2017 didn't explore that aspect of trail usage. More study would be merited to explore how trails in Elkhart County are improving sustainability. A study of 7 European cities in 2021 demonstrated that if people replaced one trip a day with walking or biking, they could significantly reduce carbon emissions. Building trails takes money. A mile of paved trail costs roughly $1 million plus thousands of hours of planning and preparation. The Pumpkinvine received state and federal funding, as well as local government and private support. Mike Puro, former Goshen mayor and later Shipshewana town manager, recalled how the Mill Race Canal path was built in the 1990s along an industrial canal constructed in the 1860s.
Went to see the park superintendent to talk to him about this issue, and he smiled and reached over into his desk and pulled out a file where he envisioned a bike path. So we have this, it's sitting on the shelf, we have no money, and lo and behold, that was the year that the federal government passed the ICE-T Act. ICE-T allowed for, or required that 10 or 15% of all funding on transportation be used for alternate transportation projects like bike paths. So here's the money available, we've got the plan, and we were able immediately to get a grant and get that first portion started. We unfortunately had pollution problems in Elkhart County, caused mostly by the paint booths and the RV industries. But that brought with it some money, and if we were able to get people on the bikes and walking instead of on their cars, that was a legitimate use. So the money just started coming in, and because we had the plan, they just kept funding us, to the point that by the time I left office, there were more miles of bike path in Goshen, Indiana than in Indianapolis.
The Pumpkinvine Nature Trail in particular has been an economic driver in Elkhart County. Annually, it has thousands of riders, walkers, and runners, including many who come from outside the community.
Again, the IFLA Institute, when they did their study several years ago, they interviewed people and asked them how much money they spent. We have a figure, it was over $3,000 per year that individuals who came to the trail spent for clothing, for gas, for food, for lodging. So when you multiply that times 80, 90,000 people, there's a significant impact. Please ice cream shop on County Road 20 is a direct result of the pumpkin vine. Not to mention Dips on the Vine in Middlebury and the Dairy Queen in Middlebury also benefit. And if you talk to the local bike shops, they will tell you that the trail has been one of the most significant things in improving their business along the trail.
Trails both connect and draw people. Pumpkinvine Nature Trail is already a big draw, and as trails are connected, they are likely to draw even more people, creating a larger economic impact. But recent federal and state funding cuts are likely to hamper trail creation.
So funding sources are shifting. We know that many of the federal programs and state programs that we've relied on have changed or gone away in recent months. And so we're working through those challenges just like everybody else is, and are going to rely more heavily on philanthropy to advance our mission.
Trails are perfect vehicles for social sustainability. Those who use the trail network also talk about it as a social network where people connect as they enjoy scenic views and safe pathways.
Well, all you have to do is go out and ride the trail any day, and you will see extended families riding the trail, groups of on teenagers rollerblading, people walking their dogs, and it's a great place to meet your friends. I rarely go out any day and I don't meet a neighbor or two who's out also biking. So it's a great social place that's safe for people like myself, who's a senior, to get off-road and be able to travel a great distance in safety.
The trails are helping people be healthier as they bike, walk, and run. The 2017 Epley study shows how significant the Pumpkinvine Nature Trail is for community health. Even after more than 3 decades of trail building in Elkhart County, there is much to do to build more trails and connect existing ones. Countless people who have given time and money have created a network of trails that people love.
So more walkable and bikeable communities make it easier for people to choose alternate forms of transportation. Rather than hopping in their cars for short distances, you can walk or take your scooter or your bike to the grocery store or to the park or to meet your friends for a drink. It's building out this infrastructure really is about the future of our communities and of our planet, as well as creating connected communities where people want to live and raise their kids and stay.